The year is 2007. The place, Polokwane. An election agent steps up to announce the results, but before she can even finish her sentence, 2,300 and the hall erupts. Zuma has just clinched the presidency of South Africa's ruling party. Against the backdrop of heated political dynamics, he defeated Thabo Mbeki with approximately 60% of the vote, a decisive outcome that ushers in a new chapter for the ANC, Africa's oldest liberation movement. But Zuma's path to leadership was not without its challenges. Just 2 years earlier, he had been dismissed from his role as deputy president amidst corruption allegations, and later faced a highly publicized rape court case. Despite these setbacks, Zuma maintained strong support within the ANC, particularly from its left-leaning factions, including the South African Communist Party and the Congress of South African Trade Unions. What transpired in the months that followed? From the December 2007 Polokwane Conference to Zuma's inauguration as president in May 2009, South Africa's political landscape would experience notable developments. Were there signs of different interests and ideologies among Zuma's supporters? How did these factions respond to the global market's reaction following Mbeki's resignation? And what might this indicate about the political shifts ahead? Join us as we delve into the Polokwane aftermath, an exploration of South Africa's evolving political narrative, in our series Jacob Zuma, Chronicles of Power and Influence.
Thought Odyssey presents Jacob Zuma, Chronicles of Power and Influence, a story of ambition, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of power. Loved, loathed, legendary. Join us as we explore the dynamics of his rise to power, his ascent to becoming the first citizen of South Africa, the palace intrigues of his reign as ANC president, and the historic fallout that some argue led to the ANC losing its majority. Is he a hero of the poor and marginalized, or one of the most corrupt leaders of post-democratic South Africa? We delve into the political history. You decide.
December 18th, 2007, the University of Limpopo. Tension fills the air as 4,000 ANC delegates wait to cast their votes, deciding the future of South Africa's ruling party and perhaps the nation itself. Months of political mudslinging, strategy meetings behind closed doors, and fierce debates have led to this moment.
On one side, you had people warning, if Zuma wins, the country will be destroyed. And on the other, voices shouting back, Mbeki must not win. He's on his way to being a dictator. It was like nothing South Africa had ever seen.
The ANC, South Africa's oldest liberation movement, stood divided. On one side, Thabo Mbeki's camp, dubbed the 1996 Class Project, focused on a vision for economic growth and global market integration. Many called it a neoliberal approach. Across the aisle, Jacob Zuma led what some called the Coalition of the Wounded, an alliance backed by COSATU, the South African Communist Party, and left-leaning factions within the ANC. The stakes? Nothing less than control of the ANC's highest positions.
The battleground was set. Jacob Zuma against Thabo Mbeki for ANC president, Galema Motlanthe versus Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma for deputy president, Baleka Mbete against Joel Netshitenji for national chairperson, Gwede Mantashe versus Terror Lekota for secretary general, Thando Modise facing Toko Didiza for Deputy Secretary General, and Matthews Posa up against Phumzile Mlambo Nkuka for Treasurer General.
Finally, the votes are tallied. It's a decisive victory for Jacob Zuma and his slate.
With that victory, the future of the ANC and its alliance would change forever. But here's the question. What if Mbeki had won? How different would South Africa look today?
With Mbeki constitutionally barred from another term as state president, many believed Phumzile Mlambo Nkuka, who replaced Zuma as deputy president, could have been his natural successor. But her candidacy for the Treasurer General role cast doubts.
Another possibility was Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. She was, after all, running as deputy president on Mbeki's slate. She could have been next in line as ANC leader. And what's more, a decade later, she would try for the ANC presidency again, this time with Zuma's backing.
That's what makes this story so fascinating. Imagine the shifts within the ANC had Dlamini Zuma taken the reins then. Many believe her 2017 campaign was a reminder of that path not taken.
But a Mbeki victory could have sparked intense friction within the ANC, potentially establishing two centers of power, one within the state presidency and another at Lutuli House. And with Mbeki's strong-willed leadership, this scenario would have been anything but smooth.
Mbeki, he wasn't easy to work with. He was meticulous. He read every document. You didn't just walk in and win him over. That frustrated a lot of people. It wasn't just about policy differences. It was personal. These frustrations ran deep, and a Mbeki-led ANC might have struggled to keep its alliances intact. With both Mbeki and Dlamini Zuma as strong personalities, the tension could have been formidable if they didn't see eye to eye. Two powerful leaders, one movement, a fragile balance.
But history chose a different path. Zuma's faction won decisively, setting South Africa on a new trajectory. The what-ifs linger, but one fact is certain. This victory redefined the ANC's future. The Polokwane Conference was over, but the turbulence had just begun. Days after Jacob Zuma's victory as ANC president, the National Prosecuting Authority reignited a storm by charging him again, this time over allegations related to the infamous arms deal.
The charges against Zuma sent his supporters into attack mode, accusing then-President Thabo Mbeki of weaponizing the elite corruption-busting unit, the Scorpions, to target his political rival. They claimed Mbeki was manipulating the criminal justice system to undermine Zuma.
And on September 12, 2008, Judge Chris Nicholson from the Pietermaritzburg High Court agreed, finding that there was indeed political interference. The charges against Zuma were dismissed, a ruling that would later be overturned on appeal. But by then, Zuma was already exercising considerable power.
The Nicholson ruling wasn't just about legal proceedings. It struck a blow to Mbeki's presidency and validated the suspicions of many in the Zuma camp that Mbeki was using state resources against him. This ruling tipped the scales.
For the ANC National Executive Committee, now dominated by Zuma loyalists, it was a breaking point. Mbeki was recalled as president of the country. Mbeki's resignation was followed by the departure of key cabinet members, including Finance Minister Trevor Manuel. The rand fell by 2.5%, a sharp economic impact that caught even the ANC off guard.
It was the same ANC, now led by Zuma, that reacted with horror to the economic hit. The party, with its strong socialist wing, suddenly had to reckon with market realities. So, what did they do? They brought Trevor Manuel right back as finance minister to calm investor nerves. And it didn't stop there. To reassure international markets, ANC Treasurer General Matthews Posa traveled to London in April 2009, promising that the party's macroeconomic policies would stay the same. Despite the rhetoric, the ANC assured investors that under Zuma, things would remain much as they had been under Mbeki.
In May 2009, South Africa went to the polls. The ANC, led by Zuma, won decisively. At last, Jacob Zuma took his place as South Africa's president.
Zuma came into office with a mandate to change the direction of the ANC. He had the backing of the dominant party faction, the leagues and allies in the tripartite alliance. And yet, when it came to economic strategy, it didn't look so different.
COSATU was given a new Department of Economic Development, and the SACP was handed control of trade and industry. But those considered part of the 1996 class project didn't lose their influence either. Pravin Gordhan, hailed for his work modernizing the South African Revenue Service, became finance minister, while Trevor Manuel took a powerful new position in the presidency. overseeing monitoring and evaluation.
Despite all the promises of change, the so-called neoliberal forces remained central to economic policy. In essence, the Zuma administration continued down a similar path, balancing between socialist ambitions and the demands of a globalized economy.
Zuma's rise had been tumultuous, his mandate clear. But as we will see in the years to come, his presidency would become a complex blend of promises, power struggles, and compromises.